My thought process goes something like this. Okay. The reason that I'm streaming is because I was fired from my job in October of 2019. Okay, and I was fired for being unhappy. And that is a legitimate cause or a legitimate reason to get fired in the state of Missouri. And, you know, it left me very confused. It's a totally shit move by the employer, and I'm not expecting to get like any sympathy from it. It's shit, and I've figured out a way to get past it, and I've moved on. But it happened, and it kind of made me step back from my life and take a hard look at it, because I loved what I did. I really enjoyed it, but it was the people that made it suck. It was one person in particular who had a really difficult time communicating with me, and I had a difficult time communicating with them because of how we were as people, and that is what caused me to get fired. Yep, you can get fired for being unhappy. Yep, 100%. It's weird, right? It doesn't make any sense, but it's a thing. So make sure you're happy. But, so it really fucked me up for a while, to be honest. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then a few months later, coronavirus happened, and the people that I had been talking to about getting a job were like, sorry, we can't even let you in the building to get an interview, so like we'll let you know when we can. And then it just never happened because of coronavirus. And then I had recruiters that are saying like, hey, I'm getting furloughed, sorry, I can't help you, and I can't give you any information for this job that you've been talking to me about, and they really like you, but I can't even like tell you who the company is, or give you their information because that's like against policy. And I'm like, cool. So I spent a long time trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I talked with my neighbor for a while, and he was kind of like, you seem like you'd be good at this. And I was like, okay. So I taught myself how to code Python. It's a computer language. Basically is like script that you type into a computer, and it tells the computer to do something specific. And I taught myself how to do that, and after teaching myself how to code a decent amount of Python at like a decent knowledge level, I decided that I needed to figure out what I wanted to do with it, and I couldn't figure out anything that I wanted to do with Python. I don't know how to say whether I'm good or not. I haven't done it in a few months now because I've been streaming. But if you give me a problem, I'm sure I could figure out the answer. But I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with it. And that was an issue for me because of the whole, like, you got fired for being unhappy thing. Because I didn't want to get introduced into a job that was super stressful, and I wasn't able to, like, smile throughout the day, because that's exactly what happened. What happened in my old job was I got to work. I was so stressed out the whole time because I was given an insane amount of work to do in such a short time. I wasn't able to like leave when I wanted to or get there when I wanted to because they needed me all the time. So I'd like work 8 hours plus during the day getting all my shit done, and I'd leave and they expected me to take my computer home and be on call, but they didn't want to pay me for that, which is fine, you know, you do you, but I didn't want to have something like that. And talking to a bunch of people about like what the coding life is like, they're like, yeah, you're kind of expected to do that. So I thought to myself, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work a million hours a week and not enjoy it. Oh my god, I'd be fired from my resting bitch face. Allie, oh my god, I know, right? It's my concentration face that would get me. Sorry about my nose, guys. Ugh. Start making games? Well, Black Mamba, I wanted to be a video game engineer. Like, I wanted to build the video games, but the reality of that is that it is so difficult. Like, the percentage of people that want to do that compared to the percentage of people that can actually get a job doing that is so low. It's just not. I don't think that I would find it enjoyable. The reality is I can't make myself do anything at the moment. Yeah, that happens too. So after I did that, I got fired. I was depressed. I finally got off the couch and was like, do something with your life, figure it out. And then I taught myself how to code Python. And then I figured out I didn't want to do that. So I sat back and I thought to myself, what have you been doing for this year that you've been unemployed? Because it was a year. It had been over a year since I got fired to the point where I started streaming on Twitch. And I said, what have you been doing with your time? You've been unemployed for a year. You could have done anything with your life. What have you done? And I think the reality of it is, you know, I went on a bunch of trips. I went to a bunch of cool places. I did a bunch of cool things. I did some updates to my house. I played a lot of phone games and I slept a lot. But I think the thing that I did most is play video games. And it was one of those things where, like, I would be extremely unproductive during the day because I'd feel like shit for losing my job, for being unhappy, and like feel like shit for spending months learning Python so that I could get a job that would pay well and that I would enjoy, to then realize I didn't want to do it. And then I realized that, like, I fucking love it's like most art or creative jobs, it's hard to actually be successful with it. Yeah, well, and that's because everyone's definition of success is not the same. That's why whenever I go into a job interview, one of the main questions that I ask is, what is your definition of being successful? Because if I'm not able to be successful in my own way at your company, it's not gonna work. So hard on the successful question. I ask that too. It's so funny because a lot of them are like, ooh, interesting. I've never been asked that question before. That's a very good question. So if you guys have a job interview coming up, definitely ask them what is their definition of being successful in their company, because that will tell you a lot. If they know the answer right away, it'll tell you a lot about them as a company, and what their ideals are. But anyway, after a whole year of just finding my way. Finding my way. I kind of figured out that I like playing video games, so I figured that I would try.